Cool. Welcome into another episode of Piratecast. We are here. It's Friday evening and another great week for the Pirates. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow night in the second leg of the semi-final? We'll wait and see, or tomorrow afternoon it is. But so far, it's been a pretty good week. Ben, how's your week going?
Yeah, not bad. Bit gutted I couldn't get down to the stadium yesterday. Been a bit under the weather the last few weeks and didn't want to risk it. So I was absolutely gutted to miss the dominant Pirates. I mean, all three heat leaders just dropping 1 point between them was pretty darn good, I would say, leading from the front. And some encouraging point tallies from Vinny and Sam starting to look a bit more on the pace as well, which is good.
Exactly. And a bit of a weird track last night as well. Obviously, we had a lot of water earlier on in the week and over the weekend, so the track was absolutely sodden. And then we had a bit of a sprinkling of rain about an hour or so before the meeting, so the track was a bit sketchy.
As well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
totally
unexpected because the forecast was clear. I was like, brilliant, clear night. I thought it's going to be freezing, so I'm not going to risk it feeling a bit under the weather. And
it was cold. It did get cold.
Well, it's always 5 degrees colder, isn't it, at Poole Stadium on a Speedway
in the
anywhere
stand.
else in Poole.
Yeah, but it did massively drop. Like yesterday in this area, it just dropped about 7 or 8 degrees overnight. Done.
Yesterday morning. So when I got up, I was like, oh no. Like jogging bottoms are on. There's no shorts now. It's it's not good.
Yeah, summer's officially over. Yeah. Nightmare. But no, it's good. I mean, overall, we've got a 14-point lead going up to for the second leg of the semi-final. And we'll see how it goes. I'm quite quietly confident, I think.
Confident. It'll all hinge on whoever work he can book as guests. I think Lewis Kerr did an absolute solid effort for him last night, looking at everything. And Leon Flint, to be fair.
Yeah, Leon Flint was good.
Because I know he can be hot and cold at times, but he was pretty consistent. And then, I think it all hinges on whoever they can book. I would imagine I think they can still use Kerr on Saturday.
Okay.
And I would stick with him personally. He always gives it all. He did at Rich's testimonial, and he was an absolute pleasure to deal with as well. Lovely lad. Yeah. And coming back from injury, I think give him the chance. But yeah, I'm with you. Quietly confident. I think 14 points should be enough. I think it'll be a lot closer up there, but it's a fair race circuit. Provided some stunning racing last time. So we'll see. Ben Cook likes the track. Rich likes the track. Tom likes the track. I think Thomas really liked the track the last time he was there as well. And I noted on his socials today, he said he thinks he's found what the issue was on Wednesday. So he's expecting a lot better performance on Saturday. Yeah,
should be good. Should be a good one, and hopefully it'll get us through to the final. Whenever that will be, because I think we've got it's next Wednesday. They've rearranged the Oxford first leg, and then the Friday potentially for the second leg. I think certainly. Anyway, we're not going to be running the final next Wednesday, which is what the original plan was. I feel
I'm always worried when it gets playoff time and we have the first leg at home. Even though we shouldn't really technically have the first leg at home, but I get it. We want to get the fixtures done.
Just trying to cram them in.
Yeah, having the second leg is such a win.
Yeah,
particularly at Poole, I think the riders are really buoyed on by the supporters. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed.
See how it goes. Now, moving on to future Piratecast episodes. I know there was a question last week about mechanics and how they work and how the inner workings of a bike works, all that sort of stuff. And thanks to our good friend Mr. Nigel Leahy, I'm not going to announce anything right now. I think it's going to be a nice little surprise when it does happen. But we have spoken to one of the mechanics over in the Poole Pits, who has been very gracious and said more than happy to go through a bike with us, completely strip it down, show us how it works, answer the very basic questions. What does this do? How does that work? If I change that, what's that going to do to the bike? All that kind of stuff, and how they set up for different conditions. If the starts aren't working, how that happens. All of that. We've got a really sort of generous offer from one of the mechanics. So stay tuned to Piratecast. Hopefully over the next week or two, we'll have a bit more news on that, and we'll be able to bring you that. But I think it's one of those things that you really can't get. If you look online, you've got your kind of generic Sky stuff, when they do the British GP from years ago. How does a Speedway bike work? And all they tell you about is drop the clutch and it goes, and that's it.
No brakes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, one gear, drop the clutch, and there's no brakes. That's all you really find out about it. But hopefully we're going to be a little bit more in depth and do a really solid show about that on location, so I hear. So, this is going to be quite an interesting one. So that will be coming up soon.
exciting times. Good work on that, and thanks again to Nige for his assistance.
Yeah.
Such a top bloke, does so much behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people realise. Particularly on the visa application front, he pretty much does it for or did do it for most of the league clubs. So yeah, thank you for that. And I think, like you say, it'd be absolutely fascinating for me. I know the bits of the Speedway bike, and I think people have done that. And I know Greg did something a few weeks ago on the GP about tyre pressures and what Bartek was using compared to others, slightly lower pressure and stuff, and how that affects it. But like for me, it's like when things are going wrong, what are you looking at? What do you change dependent on, and what's it dependent on? Because I don't know. I don't know that thing for me. I roughly know, engines and sprockets and carburetors and things like that. But yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity, and I think thank you. I can't remember who submitted the question, but thank you to that person, because we're gonna get a new episode with an actual Speedway mechanic on location, hopefully, all being well.
Yeah, and we didn't actually reach out and ask for it. It was Nige who heard the episode and said, okay, and literally came to me, said, I've already spoken to one of the mechanics and they're more than happy. Come with me, have a chat with them, and we'll get it all sorted. So yeah, we're going to be getting it sorted. So thank you, Nige, for that.
Absolute top bloke.
Diamond.
I'm
okay,
just vanish. Hang on, one sec.
Go on. What are you doing?
It's all right. I need hydration.
Oh, hydration. Okay. Your camera's moved. There we go. Professional quality here on Piratecast. We like to keep it raw. And speaking of raw, in about 12 minutes, Raw Speedway are doing a live stream. This is on Thursday night as we're recording this. Anyway.
So we don't clash. It's good.
Yeah, we don't clash because we're going to be on Friday night as you're watching this or listening to this. And again, make sure you check out thepiratecast.com. We've got all of our links over there. Spoken to Alan Hickson over in the pits, and he really appreciates the audio version of the show because you can listen to...
Because he doesn't like looking at us.
Well, yeah, probably that. Sick of our faces. But you can listen on the go, which is really cool, and that's the reason we do it, because not everyone can sit down for an hour and watch YouTube. So on the bus, in the car, on the way, on the train, on the way to work, wherever you're doing, you can check it out, which is really cool. Okay, so we had such great fun last week, and the hour flew by. Answering some of these questions, and we've got a load more left over, and a couple of extras as well. So we thought we'd just do a part 2 because it was really good. One question that we do need to redo, which we will get back to, not redo from your perspective, but we'll talk about that from when we get to it.
Yeah. Well, we just want to cover it again because we don't think we gave it a fair bite of the apple, as it were. So
we did record the answer to a question, and then I chopped it out before it made air because I was unhappy with what I said. But there we are.
There we are. And you'll never know that. That will be consigned to the depths of deletions and everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, it's around, but yeah, we'll maybe drop it one day. Okay, let's get to the first question there. So we've got John Evans. This is one I'm surprised we didn't get like loads of versions of, but if you could create a dream team of Speedway riders from any era, who would be on it and why?
Are we doing a team each on this one?
I've got a team in mind already. I was thinking about this earlier today in the car and who I'd stick in a team. So I think I've got it already.
I can do 7. I think there'll be some crossover.
Go on then. Yeah, go do yours.
Okay, so number 1 has to be my main man, T-Rick.
Yeah.
Rickardson at 1. Just the consummate professional. For me, he was unstoppable, either from the gate or from the back. Very rarely did that happen from the back, but I think, we actually referred to the golden double, and I'm fairly certain he was riding for us when we had golden doubles.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain he smashed a couple of golden doubles from the back against heat leaders as well, which was just insane. And the other reason for that as well is the way the guy raised the professionalism of the sport. Because he was at that time on another level to so many other riders. He had the full motorhome, the converted vans, all that stuff, the pit bay layout, all of that stuff. He was one of, I won't say but one of the driving forces behind it. And you can see that's been replicated because he's consulting for Warner Brothers Discovery with all the pit stuff and stuff like that. So number 1 is my man T-Rick. 2 has to be Darcy.
Yep.
Darcy Ward. One of the best riders naturally gifted riders I've ever seen, and one of the best team riders I've ever seen. That lad marshalled home riders of any level and standard for 5-1s, and it was just insane. Number 3 is Chris Holder. Again, absolute stalwart at the Pirates. Again, great team rider. Him and Darcy's sort of telepathy that they had, teams were absolutely petrified of Heat 13 against us and Heat 15 potentially. And an absolute pleasure to deal with Chris, and obviously world champion. Where am I? Number 4. So my number 4 would probably be Mark Loran.
Yeah.
Prize signing for us. I didn't really know much of him other than as an opposition rider, but what a legend. Winning a world championship without winning a GP, just consistency and like going from behind, as well as go around the boards on the Speedway track. Bit of a running joke on that one. Number 5, Gary Havelock, just for he'd be my team captain from a motivational point of view, consistency point of view. Just an absolute quality rider and somebody who brought something different. Absolute master of the inside line around Poole and on a lot of other tracks. Number 6, this is where I was faltering because there's so many other riders at number 6 in my time. But for number 6, I'm actually going to go Lars Gunnestad.
Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah.
Mr. Consistency around Poole, master of the blue riband, and an absolute lovely guy to boot. Really good. And then number 7 is a rider who I hold very, very dear in my heart. And again, like Darcy, whose career was cut short, is Krzysztof Cegielski at reserve. Guaranteed, like Darcy, would have been a multi-world champion had his career not been cut short by that nasty crash. Again, absolute pleasure to deal with. I remember one of the first sponsor meetings when he was riding for us. You got a Cegielski 316 t-shirt made. I still have that picture in my bedroom to this day.
Yes,
of me and Lee with Krzysztof Cegielski. And again, lovely bloke. Didn't know a lot of English at the time, but wow, what a rider! One of the best Polish riders I've seen riding for Poole. There are many other riders. Some of the newer ones as well have blown me away. Ben Kirk, Zach Kirk, and there's many, many more I've probably missed off. But that for me would be a dream team. I haven't even included Greg Hancock. He only rode for us one season.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, that's my dream team. It's pretty much Poole riders through and through who have ridden for Poole on multiple seasons.
Yeah.
And have just sort of, for me, raised the bar at Poole, and just been dominant. So yeah, that is my 1 to 7.
Nice one. I mean, there's definitely going to be some replication here. Again, in no particular order, Tony Rickardsson, again, exactly the same reason you said. He was unstoppable when he was with Poole and kind of at the peak of his game when he was riding with us. And, really great to have him on the team, Mr. Ultimate Professional. Off the back of that same era, Lee Adams, I'm going to throw in there as well.
Do you know what? I just had that. I was like, I forgot Lee Adams. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Lee came to, I think I saw Lee practicing at Exeter late on in 1988 when he sort of first came over, but then he officially signed for the Pirates in 89 and became part of the team. So, and again, another person who's had his career cut short. But yeah, brilliant rider. So Tony Rickardsson, Lee Adams. Then I've got to do Chris and Darcy. They again purely for the team riding aspect, absolutely fantastic. And what you said, that some of the sort of intuitive, they knew what each other was thinking. They knew exactly where each other was in the track at any one time. When they were at their peak, they're absolutely unstoppable. So that's 4. I am going to throw in Richard Lawson because at the moment, people are talking about the Cooks, obviously, and as you said, it's a shame to leave them off a list because there are so many good riders out there. They're doing brilliantly, but Richard Lawson, I think, really, even though he's not the captain for the last few seasons, has really been leading from the front and showing what a Poole rider should be. So that's 5. I'm going to throw in there. There's going to be a bit of a controversial one, but people will know the reason why I'm throwing him in there. But Antonio Limbach, I loved it when he was a Pirate. Such a wild riding style, and very exciting, and still holds the track record at Poole. Really threw it around Wimborne Road. Absolutely awesome. And then what's that? That's 6, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, just with Limbach, he got the 21-point maximum in the British League Cup match, didn't he?
Yes,
or was it
he
more
did.
than 21? Was it more than 21? You can't get more than 20. No, 24. No, 7 rides, wasn't it? Yeah, 21.
Yes, yeah, 21. Yeah, unbelievable. And then the last one, because it goes back to the era when we first started watching Speedway, Craig Boyce, again, another Mr. Poole Speedway from back there. Always entertaining, always a hard rider, always fun to watch and cheer on. But yeah, brilliant rider. Again, I don't know how they'd mesh as a team, but it would be entertaining to watch. That's mine.
Good value at dinner and dance as well.
Always good value.
Always
good value. We've got to do a show about the old Poole Speedway dinner and dance end of season things, because my God, some of the stories from that is mental.
The last one we went to,
was that the one at the Bic?
The photo with Bjarni? No. The last.
It was
last one was at the Hilton,
Westover Road.
Not the Hilton.
Yeah, it was the
Hilton.
Hilton.
Is there? Yeah, it was the Hilton's on. It was a Hilton, wasn't it?
It was the Hilton at the time. It was a Premier Inn.
Pavilion.
Yeah.
And obviously there were. I can't remember which season was which, because there was one season where we were on the dance floor, Chris and Darcy, and you and I were absolutely mullered. Yeah. Was that the same season that we had our picture taken with Bjarni as well?
I think so. Again,
by Jay Eastwood.
Jay Eastwood, yeah.
I was going to say Jay Ratchet, but he's the DJ. Jay Eastwood.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a lot about that, so
no. I was mullered, absolutely mullered. Yeah, it was good times. It was good times.
It'd be great if we could make something like that happen again. It'd be awesome. So anyway, that's our first question done. 16 and a half minutes in. Right, here comes the controversial one. There is a little bit of a preface to this one. So Ian Clark, sticking with my as yet unanswered question from his perspective, over the last 20 years, what would be your 1 to 7 of most disappointing Pirates? Now, Ben and I did dive into this with both feet, and we were kind of going through names of people who were, it's really difficult, because no Speedway rider goes out there ultimately to ride badly or to, have a bad season or a bad ride or anything. So it's difficult to say someone was disappointing. It's go on. Have you thought of another one?
I got a new one. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to be too specific, but when I listened back to the question and how we answered it, I felt it was a little bit unfair on certain people. So we've kind of reviewed it a little bit, and I don't know if we're going to get 7, but there are a few that stand out, I think, that we're going to probably mention. And again, if you go back and look at the scores, you can understand why we've chosen these specific people.
My number 1 actually doesn't fit the criteria.
Oh, really?
Because wasn't it over 20 years old? It's got to be, hasn't it? I don't believe Justin Elkins rode after 2000. Or...
No, probably not. Hang on, I've got the page open. Justin Elkins, 2003 was part of the squad.
Oh,
or
okay.
A squad at least.
So just 21 years. I think we can fit him in. So number 1, Justin Elkins. Poor lad, despite trying. One of the only riders I've seen fall off the back of the bike on the start line. starting. Poor lad. Yeah, his score lines were not great. It wasn't for the lack of effort. And he, to be fair, I think he turned up week in, week out. And I don't actually think we changed him for a couple of seasons. No. I think it was just the way the team was built with heavy hitters that we didn't have a lot of option. But poor lad, that would be my number 1. Have you got one?
Again, one of the ones that I know you were going to mention, but I'll see if I can bring in some people that we didn't mention before. But there was one that we kind of brought him in, and he was a kind of a legend in our National League days when he rode for Wimbledon, riding with Todd Wiltshire, and that was Ray Morton. He was a really decent sort of I guess heat leader on a National League basis. We signed him in 2005, and I think we were hoping for that same Ray Morton that the late 80s Ray Morton and late 80s early 90s Ray Morton, and we didn't really get that. I don't know if we were expecting it, but everyone remembers him from back then, and shadow of the guy that we had that used to race against us. And again, I don't think we had huge hopes for him. I don't think we asked a lot of him, but he was just there to sort of score a few points each meeting. But when you've seen someone at their absolute peak and then you see them in later years, it's just not sad, but it's just upsetting that that they're not still at that amazing level. So I'm throwing Ray Morton in there.
Okay, next one for me is similar vein, kind of, but not towards such a sort of end time to the career was Jason Lyons.
Yeah.
You know, I always remember him riding for Kings Lynn in the black and silver, as they were there, the black and silver machine.
Yeah.
Absolutely unstoppable. He was ridiculously good, particularly when he was riding against Poole for Kings Lynn, both at Kings Lynn and at Poole. And then the season we signed him, it just didn't really gel. I don't know what it was. He was out of form. The bikes didn't seem to have any power. It was just really, really, it was disappointing for us, but I guess he was equally as disappointed because he used to tear up trees around Wimborne Road when he visited us. He's a thorn in the side. I think he was a heat leader, but he was definitely not a number one. He was I think he was a 3, maybe a 5 at times.
Yeah.
And sort of batted around that and the second string one. But yeah, for whatever reason, when he was in our lineup, something just didn't fit well, and it might have been that it was towards the end of his career, but yeah, it's such a shame because such high hopes for him. You know, he's devastated us as an away rider, and when he rides for us as a home rider, it just doesn't go right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. Another one that I don't think we mentioned last time, and again, one that we saw in the World Championships, sort of in the early to mid 90s, and then we signed him in 1997, was Armando Castagna, and he never really, again, reached the heights that we were hoping for from him. Whether or not it was the British tracks, because I mean, I remember him back riding for, was it Reading he rode for back in the late 80s, right. Early 90s, yeah. And then we got him in 97, and again, maybe right rider but wrong time. Never really kind of made any explosions for us. But yeah, Armando Castagna, obviously the next generation is riding now. But Armando, bit of a shame he never really hit the heights of his World Championship contention years.
Sort of similar vein to that, not quite national, like World Championship or National Championship. Karel Zabek. He was the next Polish big deal. We signed him from what everyone thought of was at exactly the right time. He was just taking a step up, a bit like a Casper Warina. Level, ready to take the next step up and potentially, one of those little diamonds that Matt was able to sign at 6 or 7 that just took no prisoners and tore up trees, and basically they were a heat leader by the end of the season. But again, for whatever reason, just did not materialise. He had good kit under him. I don't know whether it was just the shock of the some of the tight English tracks. I'm not sure, but again, big disappointment because I think it was really hyped up at the time. He was coming off of a really good season in Poland, or 2 really good seasons in Poland, and again had been beating world class riders around there, and it just didn't happen, which was gutting because we were really excited. Yeah, we got Karel Zabek at reserve. It's gonna be amazing, and then it's like he's still at reserve. He's still not scoring any points. Okay, bye. So that's 5, isn't it?
I think that's 5. I was going to throw in there John Gould. People who were sort of late 80s, early 90s fans remember the name of John Gould. And again, he was a massive trier. I remember him in his black and day-glow orange, or was it green? I think it was orange, leathers. And I think he fell off 3 times in one race down at Exeter one time. And again, he definitely had the will to throw it around the track and give it everything, but it just something didn't stick, and he just tried so hard and ended up in the fence a lot of the time. Tried so hard, but just didn't work out for him. So John Gould is another one.
Now, there was an honourable mention the last time we did this for Craig Watson.
Yeah, true.
However, I have come up with an absolute trump card. It's not necessarily valid for every single time. However, the last season that Christoph Kasperzak rode for us.
Oh, yeah.
That was extremely disappointing. That was horrendous.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I think the thing from a fan's perspective, I know the management wanted to keep going with him and things like that. Christoph, whenever he was at the back, that was it.
Yeah, he'd power off
a bike length or slightly behind. He either didn't finish the race or there was just no real effort with it. But on the sort of defence part of that, he was also a rider. And Gordon Day, God rest his soul, was a huge advocate for Christoph.
Absolutely.
Really good friends with him. And even he freely admitted Christoph tinkered with the bike too much. He would literally change stuff nearly every race, even if stuff was working. And then when it wasn't working, he'd do everything. Like, he'd literally change everything, change bikes, then change everything on the bike. And I don't think that compounded things. But yeah, that was a huge disappointment that last season to see what he'd become, and then he signed somewhere else and started
winning everything.
Including meeting at Poole.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was a pressure thing. I don't know. Just again, right rider, wrong time, wrong team. I don't know. Sometimes it just goes like that. But is that 7 now? Have we got 7?
Yeah, I think so. That must be 7. And if not, that is where we're doing it, because you know, there are no more that we can think of. There are other riders that have struggled but have had moments of sheer glory. Paul Fry, you know, on the context of that, Paul Fry, rest his soul. That race against Lakeside where he came out and he was the only rider, because Daniel Davidson was complaining about how wet I mean, it was a wet track, don't get me wrong. And then he got that win from nowhere.
He was pretty old school, wasn't he? Just
incredible. Commentators, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Kelvin on commentary. Controversially, I know a lot of people love him and the energy he puts in, but I was really excited hearing Kelvin commentate that race as well. Everyone was rooting for Paul Fry to win that race. So yeah, on the flip side of disappointing, you know, little diamond moments like that, just stunning.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. There are others that, you know, haven't done well for the Pirates, but probably that weren't really expected to do that well. You know, only sort of 2 or 3 points a meeting, and you know, if they're doing the job they're asked for, you can't really have a go at them for that. Right, let's move on to the next one. Nina Roberts, what inspired you to start Piratecast, and what keeps you motivated to continue producing episodes? Now, I think we both remember one specific point where we decided one way or another, or at least the thought of Piratecast or something in this vein was created, and it was it 2011?
I want to say it was 2013, but you're probably right. I think it was 2011.
Yeah, it was somewhere anyway. It was when
we started thinking about something to sort of generate fan positivity, as it were.
It was whenever we lost the playoffs, didn't we? And I think something by about heat 13, we knew we couldn't win it. And we started seeing Poole fans just like shaking their heads, getting up and walking out when there were 2 heats still left to go. And we just felt like, you know, second best team in the league is, you know, still better than all of the other teams.
It was like a football match, wasn't it? Just a regular football match where the team gets hammered and people just go, "No, I'm going." But like you say, it was, you know, second place in the league is still good.
Yeah.
Despite how dominant we tend to be, but you know, and just people walking out before the end of the meeting and not giving the riders their due.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't get over the finish line on the last meeting. The last 2 meetings.
We kind of felt that something needed to happen, a groundswell of support or a voice of the fans to kind of rally the fans behind us, or I don't know, we just felt we needed to do something from a fan's perspective to make people appreciate the team, and a bit of a fan's voice, I guess, really. So yeah, that we started with, was it just a podcast to begin with?
Yeah, we did it as
pre-recorded
audio podcast, pre-recorded, random bits and pieces, our thoughts of the meetings, you know, a few interviews here and there of riders, and then that sort of led to P&P days where we did interviews, videos, that sort of stuff. And then we went to live recordings
audio
of the podcast with live Facebook Live, as it was back then.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the best format to do it.
Yeah.
And I think we may have thrown in a couple of Periscopes. There you go. There's one. There's one for the older social media users. Periscope, it used to be assigned to Twitter. Yeah. And then it's just sort of evolved as we've gone. You know, trying to do the live show was innovative at the time. But the pressure of that, you know, I think we mentioned that last week, the sort of pressure it puts on us to A, deliver a quality show, and B, you know, being able to schedule a live show to get the fan interactions. It just becomes really, really difficult. And we were letting people down. Well, not letting people down. We felt we were letting people down more than we were doing things for, if that made sense.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, the motivation to continue producing episodes is the team. I mean, you have everyone cheering the Pirates down there. And I know with the quote unquote official interviews like the Echo and you know, the stuff that Danny produces and puts on the website and things like that, they have to be very politically correct. They have to toe the line. Whereas we have never, ever claimed to be anything official. We are not affiliated with Poole Speedway in any way at all. So we're essentially the voice of the fans. We can say what we like. We can, and you know, a lot of the fans agree with us, but we're always going to try and keep a positive spin on it as well. You know, if we have a crap night, we'll say we've had a crap night, but we'll move on to the next meeting and look forward to that. It's again, we don't have to worry about what we're saying too much, because again, we don't really want to be I know it sounds horrible, but we don't want to be affiliated with the official channels because it kind of limits us a little bit. So if you've got comments, and this is why some of these comments that have come in, some of the questions are really good. Just genuinely, what do we think? What do we feel? I like it. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, we're happy to do stuff in an official capacity as and when asked.
Yeah.
And if the opportunity arises, but we like having the ability to. The way I put it is, put a bit of lightheartedness in it. Address some of the silly things and make them sillier. And just sort of give everyone a bit of a smile and a laugh and a giggle along the way at some point, which I like to think we do pretty much every episode if we can.
Yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Nina, for that one. Now, here's one from Ben Alford, and this is a long one.
Yeah, the way it's long, I should have edited it really rather than just copy it straight across. But
no, that's all good. But it's kind of we talked about it last time on part 1. But what changes would you make to Speedway? I've been discussing it recently with friends of my old man. One we said was that if you make a tactical substitute or a reserve change, then the rider who is going out again shouldn't be allowed more time. If they're covering an injured rider, then I think it's different. After all, it's not the opposition's fault you are behind or a rider is struggling. I kind of get that, but then you've got to think about sort of putting more fuel into a bike because they only carry a limited amount of fuel. And again, that's kind of a disadvantage for the rider who is having 2 heats. I don't know. I get what you mean with that. It's difficult. That there are lots of rules that you could probably tweak, and we touched on them last time. It's going to take people with bigger brains than us to try and work that out. But and then another thing he's put, another thing that came to mind to me after watching the Olympics this summer, and in particular the cycling, which I watched the cycling. I didn't have a clue what was going on. At first, we thought of this as a joke, but with GPS trackers and timing coming into Speedway more and more, I just wondered your thoughts. Instead of a superheat, they do a team pursuit like they do in cycling. One team starts at the tapes, the other halfway down the back straight. Normal 4 laps, and the team that's ahead when the last rider crosses the line or back straight is the winner. Again, I think that's probably from a safety perspective, because if someone crashes, you've got another 2 other riders who essentially half their lap behind that are just going to go straight over them. I didn't get. Did you watch any of that Olympic cycling where they start off and they're going around slowly and looking behind them and like leaning around? And then
that's the weird one I don't get. You need a rule.
No idea.
I do get what you're saying about the team pursuit though. So the half each end, so they start and finish line in the same position.
Yeah,
I quite like that idea, but like you say, if there is an accident, then that does make it a lot trickier. But I think that's a very innovative idea that you could do instead of a superheat.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I mean, we did have a semi-discussion last week as well, so hopefully Ben's caught up on that episode now around bringing back the golden double instead of the tax sub, because it was entertaining. It was great. It's like, yes, here we go. This is going to be epic, and you're just so looking forward to a race. And sometimes it was successful, and sometimes it didn't materialize. But things like that, and obviously with the GPS bits and pieces, GPS trackers and timing coming into Speedway. Just to let you know, I don't know if everyone's aware, but I'm fairly confident that all our riders, they are using transponders in the championship.
Yeah.
Now they have got them. I know they have been using them. I don't know if they use them every meeting. Alan would be the one to double check with that, but I know they have started using them definitely this season. I know they did start trialing them last season. So it would be very, very interesting the connotations they could do with that. The other one you could have is I don't know if it would work so much in Speedway, but the other cycling one they have is where you got 3 on the same team.
Oh yeah.
It's the time lapse. So the idea is you sort of anchor person at the start, they go off as fast as they can, and the other 2 slipstream behind you. You got to go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And whoever gets the fastest time wins. So there are definitely some connotations there, but I don't know if a slipstream works as much in Speedway.
Probably not.
Potentially, if you're in the same line as they go around the corner, you're just going to get covered.
Yeah.
Filled in.
Yeah. They do that thing where they reach out and grab the other one's hand and wing them up there. The thing I couldn't imagine that. That would be mental.
Speedway relay with a baton.
Oh man, could you imagine how many times are there to rerun it or get off the bike to pick it up because they've dropped it? And Insane.
Just take the helmet colour off.
That'd be yeah. Just stick it on someone else.
Flag Speedway.
That would be good.
You have your top 2 riders from each team. There's a flag. You toss coins for who goes out first. And then the opposing rider has to get the flag off the handlebar.
I think
messy,
there's
actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's legs to this. The next person that, I mean, Rich, I know was thinking about some different ideas to do his testimonial. I know Kyle's got his testimonial, Kyle Newman, at some point, obviously, probably next season now. But it would be great to come up with a bit of a different concept or an interesting version of a race that we could trial at something like that. That would be really good.
Interesting. Let us know your thoughts as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, or post them under the comments when we post the episode on socials. Let us know what you think. Any zany ideas that could possibly be facilitated to rival the superheat, rival the golden double. Things like that. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a great twist to Speedway. Next one we've got is from Olivia Hayes. What's the weirdest or most unexpected thing that's happened while recording an episode of Piratecast? The only thing I can think of it when you mentioned the Periscope thing or the Facebook Live thing, and I think there is a photo of this kicking around somewhere, was we didn't have a proper sort of camera stand. So if you could imagine, when we did the audio version, we had 2 little desks and we're essentially facing each other with the microphone, and we were in my dad's spare room. So there was us sort of like in near a window with us either side of a table, and over to my right, Ben's left, there was a big double bed because it was in his spare bedroom. We stacked up a load of books and then propped your iPad up on top of it to then face us sort of side on, so we could stream and film us doing the live thing. It came out looking pretty professional, but if you could have seen what we saw from our side of things, just this
we did definitely show it. I think we definitely either posted a picture going, this is our setup.
Yeah.
For how we're doing this, but we definitely did circulate that, because people were going, oh my god, no way, you're literally doing this like on a stack of books. Like, yeah, we've got to use what we got to use. Innovative.
Just a mixture of like hardback and softback crime novels. It was
with some
random.
wedges to stop the iPad from, although I had a decent
toppling over
cover on it, but from toppling over.
But yeah, that was it. That was a bit weird.
There was something. I'm sure there was someone on one of the live ones. We haven't had any sort of nakedness or things like that. I've nearly had the cat come in shot, meowing his head off. Mandy let him in by mistake. And there have been a couple of times where I've been gobsmacked you've not heard my lad when he was in his prime Fortnite, 12, Xbox. 13-year-old Fortnite gaming. I'm pretty certain I muted myself, and there may have been a few choice words, and I can't remember if that was directly after the show or I might have muted myself during the show. I don't think it was during the show, though. So that's about the closest. We've been quite fortunate on stuff like that.
Yeah, considering we're unprofessional. Yeah, that works. Yep, so there we go. Thanks, Olivia, for that one. Crystal Witch on I'm going to call it Twitter because it's still Twitter in my land. I'm not calling it X. It's ridiculous. Now, this is going to be a fun one. What's your perfect Sunday?
Now, this was hit with a hot fuzz meme. One of my favourite films of all time, I'm not going to lie. Quite frankly, if you're watching this and you don't know what Hot Fuzz is, we can no longer be associated. I'm perfectly honest. It's one of those. It is my favourite film of that trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's a running joke on 2 occasions. What's your idea of a perfect Sunday? So she hit it with a hot fuzz meme. Well, my idea of a perfect Sunday is, I don't know. I think for me, it's very rare I get a lion anymore. I have had the opportunity recently, but I don't know what it is. I think it's old age setting in. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Unless you got absolutely shit-faced the night before.
Yeah, but that's more unconsciousness than tiredness, I think.
Yeah.
I think for me, it gets to a point where I'm just no longer comfortable in bed anymore, and I have to get up.
Yeah, bad back. So we're just old.
An ideal perfect Sunday is actually my favourite times. As nice as summertime Sundays are, is if the weather continues as it is. I used to alternate with my folks. So every week we do a coffee morning. And they'd come around and bring like pastries or breakfast, and I'll do like nice coffees on the machine and stuff. And then in the winter time last year, I said, well, how about we alternate? So one week we do that, and then the next week we do a roast. So for me, it's chilled morning, getting the roast ready, family roast, couple of card games afterwards, and then nice early evening, chilling out, ready for work the next day, because Mondays do suck, regardless of whether you love your job or not. Mondays are a come down. For me, that is my perfect Sunday. If there is a pub thrown in for a pint, I'm not remiss to that, but it's not a necessity. I know it's a boring one, but yes, that is my perfect Sunday. So thank you, Crystal Witch, for the hot fuzz meme on that one. Much appreciated that one. Over to you, Mister.
I can think, that works this time. It didn't work last time. The point didn't.
Yeah, I've stopped mirroring my phone now because it didn't work for me. So.
Oh, okay, right. That's what it was. I thought it might have been something like that. Now, there's lots of things that I like to do on the Sunday, but I never do all at the same time because my stomach isn't that big. Well, it is, but not. I can't. Yeah. So I'd like to get up at reasonable time, 8 o'clock-ish. Again, I can't stay in bed for ages. Go downstairs, probably have a nice fry up, stick something on the TV. After the fry up, I'd either want to have at lunch, again, do a roast or something like that, or maybe go out to Toby Carvery, something like that, or a country pub or something, get a proper old-fashioned country roast going. Back home for the afternoon, I'm going to say, that's to be controversial, it'll give away my age, but maybe an afternoon nap for an hour.
I was going to say, if you go out for a full-on roast and even cooking one here, you may need an afternoon nap if it's an early roast.
Especially if you have some wine with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Oh, yeah, there's a bottle of red on the go. 100%
oh, yeah. Absolutely. Got to be a bottle of red.
My old man tends to bring the wine in, so that's all good.
Nothing wrong with that. And then, especially this time of year, and again, I get what you mean. It's certainly Sunday evenings feel better in the winter when you've got the darker evenings. You can shut the curtains, get nice and warm, and it's NFL season. So as soon as it gets to 6 o'clock, I always like to do some sort of American themed food, whether it's takeout or whether we make hot dogs or make fresh burgers or something like that. And again, get some American beers on the go and watch an NFL game or two. And by that point, 3 massive meals, I'd probably be dead. I sound like Hermione.
I know you don't get on with it, but that's the other one I like is, regardless of what's on the TV, I'm lucky my other half quite likes the game as such, not just the team we support. But I like having Red Zone on the iPad next to me. I love Red Zone. It's great. I mean, it's bonkers when you first start watching it. Yeah, it's probably the best thing for the afternoon game. So yeah, I forgot to add that in. It's quite nice this time of year having football back. I managed to watch the Bucks. Most of the Bucks last week. It was a late game. I think I got to the third quarter, and then I was just like, I gotta go to bed.
It was on the dot of midnight. I finished watching it, and I think we still had about 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I was like, "No, we're going to win. It'll be fine. I'm getting to sleep now."
Yeah.
So yeah. So there we go. That's the perfect Sunday. Perfect Sunday.
Excellent.
Next one, Tom Richards. I'm keeping an eye on the time because we're probably still going to try and stick to an hour on this one. But Tom Richards, what other podcasts do you listen to, and have any of them influenced the way you approach Piratecast?
Didn't we have a podcast related one last time, or did we start talking about other podcasts?
No. I mean, we had. It's the question. We didn't answer it last time, but it was on the list.
That'll be why then. So yeah. I'm quite new to podcasts. I've never really got on with them before, but I'm going to be quite sad now and show the inner child in me. For me, it's Universal Orlando and Disney related podcasts because I absolutely love or have been to Florida. I'm very fortunate to have been to Florida quite a few times and I absolutely love the place. So I listen to that. I listen to the Back of the Net Bournemouth podcast. That's a really good one. Very accessible. And I don't listen to too many NFL podcasts because I find some of them they just go so analytical, which there's a certain point I can go to, and then I'm just like, nah. So I listen because it entertains me. I listen to the Jason and AC podcast, and what's the main one? The main American one with the 3 guys.
Oh, around the NFL.
Around the NFL.
That it doesn't exist anymore.
So yeah, that'll be why.
Yeah.
But that was one I used to enjoy because they sort of had the lightheartedness as well and sort of took the mick out of the sport as well as so yeah, for me those are the ones, and I'm not a massive podcast person, but since I've started making a point, so my working day, I try and get out for half an hour at lunchtime just as a sort of brisk walk. That's where I've started doing my podcast. Don't tend to do them in the car. I prefer music in the car. Weird.
Yeah.
But I have done the odd podcast or the end of a podcast that I've listened to at lunchtime. I have started doing that in the car now. So for me, it's all my Disney news. The Universal Orlando one, if you like Universal Florida, if you've been there, The Universal Orlando ones, when they are going, the actual internal or produced ones are excellent. They're really, really good. And then there's so much Disney content out there; it's saturated. So you just got to sort of find your presenters that you like and stick with it.
Exactly.
How it goes with Piratecast, it's interesting because where I'm sort of listening to other podcasts, it's something that I kind of have done. So I don't know that their approach would influence it any. I know sort of some of the features. For me, some of the stuff we do has been more influenced by radio shows I listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Things like Chris Moyles and
Moylesy,
stuff like that. The old school stuff on Radio 1. That'd be great. I mean, if we could proper, be on FM or something like that and really go to town with the production and all that kind of stuff, that would be awesome. But we'd be a very different world and require a hell of a lot of commitment. I prefer what we're doing now. On my side of things, podcasts. So there's Speedway, NFL, and again, we'll probably cover this later. Big pro wrestling fan, more so at certain times of the year than others. So there's my podcast. I've got Buccaneers Insider Insight with Chris Van Vliet, which is long form interviews with anyone in the wrestling or whatever universe. It did an interview with Dave Bautista about his latest movie. Stephen Amell was on today's. Salty Dogs, No Breaks, No Fear, Nothing But Bucks, this Pirate Cast, 83 Weeks, the Logan Poole podcast, which is really good, Humans of Speedway, a couple more Buccaneers ones. Yeah, that's it, really. I'm never short of listening to stuff, but I love listening to podcasts in the car.
Actually, one of the other ones I forgot to say is Off Menu. I've got really into that.
Yeah.
With Ed Gamble and James Acaster. That is superb. It's really, really clever. Really clever. It does hinge on the guests that they've got on as to whether I listen to it. It's got to be somebody that I want to listen to. But I have also bitten the bullet and listened to some that I don't like in the vain hope that, it sort of wins me over to them. That Off Menu is hilarious. It is good. Poppadoms or bread is one of the questions. I think we could use some of those questions. I think we need, I was going to say to you about when you say about fried slice or toast, mate.
Fried slice. I mean, it's.
See, I don't have it very often. I can't remember the last time I had fried bread.
Exactly.
You've got me proper craving it.
I prefer fried bread, but again, when you get to a certain age, you don't want to have it all the time.
Yeah.
So toast is probably better for you on like whole grain bread or something like that.
Oh, don't go all bloody holistic on me now. Jesus. Fried bread cooked in butter.
Yeah. Coronary.
Yeah.
There's both you and me with heart conditions. Let's move on to another one from X. I'm calling it Twitter. Wayne Stansfield. What is the rule about a rider's bike once on track? I've seen it twice in the last couple of weeks. Riders on track, bike is acting up. They switch to another rider's bike. The race gets stopped and they switch back to the other bike as it's being fixed. Just curious. Great show last time. So there's a couple of elements to that. I mean, again, I think the rule book says that all riders have to be at the tapes ready to go when the 2-minute time allowance reaches 0. However, some referees interpret that as long as they are on the track, out of the pits and on the track when the 2 minutes is up, that's fine. So they can change around whatever they want as many times as they like, as long as they're sort of on the track ready to go.
That's interesting because from when we were speaking to Christina, I know the rules change every year, but I'm pretty certain you have to be round turn 4 into the straight.
Well, exactly,
before
but
the 2 minutes.
A couple of weeks ago at Poole, we had that, and there was a rider who only just made it out with like seconds to spare, and because they just made it out of and they were actually on the track under power, they didn't get excluded under 2 minutes. So I think it's referee interpretation on that.
I think that's probably a better thing because for me as a fan, if they're pushing it and taking the mick and doing practice starts when it's so close, then 100% they should be excluded. But if they're trying their damnedest to get round before those closing seconds, I'd much rather have 4 riders in a race. Even if it gives us an advantage having 3, I'd still rather have 4 riders going at it. So I kind of understand that point of view.
Yeah.
From the switching bikes perspective, I'm not sure if Wayne is aware. I'm assuming he is. One bike it's not like a generic. There's your Speedway bike. Get on with it. It's, very much like Formula One. It's all the interior connotations. The frame sizes do differ slightly because you get short and tall Speedway riders. So people who may think, so for example, Vinny crashes out.
Yep.
Written off. and all of a sudden Rich is like, here you go, mate, it's a playoff final, here you go, mate, use my bike. Everyone's like, oh, this is amazing, he's going to be using Rich's bike, it's going to be so quick, It doesn't quite work like that. It's completely different. It's not set up how he wants it. The engine's probably a lot more powerful than the one he's on. It takes a lot of time to get used to riding one. Potentially it's going to take you at least one race to get used to it as a minimum. So I think, if the riders can get back on their original equipment that is clearly working for them, then I think that's what the preference is.
Yeah. Interesting one. I get your curiosity on that, but it's a rider will always prefer riding their own bike. It's just a more of a natural thing. Sarah Mitchell, if you could live in any fictional universe for a day, which one would it be and why? That's an interesting one.
I don't know. I think how are we doing fictional universes?
Anything from a TV show or movie, I guess.
Movie, okay. Or you could do books, I suppose.
Yeah.
So if we're doing movies, for me, it would have to be Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
My all-time favourite film. Wanted an absolute proper proton pack since I was 8.
Yeah.
I would love to be a Ghostbuster. I'm eminently jealous of all the new cast, Paul Rudd included, who've been able to become Ghostbusters, and James Acaster, funny enough. Mention him. Would love to be a Ghostbuster. TV is different. I used to want to be Jack Bauer,
but like your whole life, you're going to be
die.
Yeah,
I'm 100% going to be in peril all of my life.
There'll be people wanting to kill you every second of every day.
But, I don't know what it is. I don't think I could ever ride a horse for any period of time, but I quite fancy the Yellowstone.
Yeah, that lifestyle.
Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily the, take a train ride bit, but and that side of thing. But like just being able to work in the outdoors like that and do that sort of stuff, I think would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where I'm getting a bit older, though, if I'm honest. I think that's an age thing as well.
Yeah.
But for me, 100% Ghostbusters. Minor peril. Yes, you could get destroyed by a ghost, but you've got a nuclear accelerator on your back. Sorry, an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on your back. So I get the line right.
This is the one that I would do, and I don't think you're going to be too surprised with this one. I'm going to go Star Trek. People say that you're either a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan. I love both equally. I don't think one is better than the other. They've both got their merits. Star Trek obviously is a bit more peaceful, a bit more about space exploration and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with that. I think it'd be brilliant. I'd love to be on a spaceship and cruising around and exploring and stuff. I'd love it.
So long as you don't get issued a red shirt.
Yeah, and die within the first 5 minutes.
You're not an officer.
Yeah, here's your top.
Your red shirt when you're an officer.
Yeah, not wearing that.
For a drink.
So that was a good one. Next one, we kind of answered this last week. One from Laura King. How do you balance producing Piratecast with your other personal and professional responsibilities? It's that's it.
The only thing I can say, really.
It's easier now that we're pre-recorded. We don't have to both be at exactly the same place, exactly the same time, and make sure everything's fine to go live. We can really record. I mean, we could record one as you're listening to it on a Friday night, and then, we could record another one 10 minutes later to go out the week after. We've got that flexibility now. So we have had to make a few changes, but we make it work. We can squeeze an hour in every so often. So that's how it works. I'm interested in your response to this one, Ben. Mike Adams, what's one hobby or interest that you have that your listeners might be surprised to learn about?
I honestly can't think of anything, mate. I'm just dull. I game a little bit, but I don't get a lot of time for gaming.
Yeah.
I'm loving a bit of Helldivers at the moment. Helldivers 2. Spreading managed democracy across the galaxy. It's quite cool. I think for me, probably the thing the listeners might be surprised about is work-wise, if I'm honest. That's probably the most surprising thing. So I'm a manager or an operations manager for a vessel tracking and piracy intelligence company. Tracking vessels worldwide, and not just piracy intelligence now, all the stuff that's happening in the Middle East and the Red Sea. I'm in the thick of it. We get the reports, we let vessels know in the area, we try and guide them and issue them advice of how to protect them and whether they should go through and not. So in a very brief nutshell, quite a fascinating job. And when I first started, it was about pirates in West Africa, kidnapping people, and we would report on the alerts and monitor vessels and try and protect them. And if anything went wrong and we weren't aware of it, we'd phone the vessel up and say, look, we notice you're not en route, etc. Is everything okay? Do you need any assistance? And then reporting on these horrible incidents, but ultimately to try and protect other seafarers that are, our clients are asking us, can you monitor this vessel for its voyage throughout West Africa? So very surprising job role. People, are gobsmacked when I tell them what I do, and when they come and see the office and see sort of all the multiple screens and stuff that I'm working with, it's a bit like, oh my god. Very space age, but yeah, it's a fascinating job. No 2 days are the same, and that was what was so busy over the close season this year, particularly December and January with Yemen and attacking vessels and stuff, as to why I just did not have any time. It was just consistently, every day, multiple times a day, vessels getting hit by missiles. We're reporting, informing the vessels in the area that we're looking after, saying, Captain, are you aware of this? Do you need to take action? So yeah, I think that's probably the most surprising thing, rather than a hobby or an interest. I don't have any hobbies really, other than NFL and Speedway.
I mean,
and going to Bournemouth games when I can get tickets as well.
I mean, again, similar to me, NFL, Speedway. Again, similar to you. Like, as I get older, I get less and less time to game on the Xbox. I love playing Madden, but I think the last Madden that I bought, it took me about a year to physically get through a season with a team, because I just didn't have enough time to play it. Quite boring, to be honest. That's probably about it. So yeah, not very exciting. Dylan Foster, if you had to start a new podcast on a completely different topic, what would it be about?
I haven't read that one.
Oh, won't you? Okay. I'm going to go. Go on.
Go on. You go.
I was going to. I mean, I've already done a few podcasts over the years. If I was to do a brand new one now, it'd probably be movies.
Oh my god.
Was that what you're going to say?
That is literally what I was going to say. Focusing predominantly on 80s and 90s movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe do some watch alongs
with modern stuff, all the new modern stuff that chucked in. But the only problem with that is I know there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
In that particular market, I don't personally listen to any, and it's quite a subjective viewpoint.
Yeah, just because we love a movie doesn't mean everyone else is gonna.
It's like, I love an Adam Sandler movie. I know they're not for everybody, but you can turn your brain off, and that absolutely creases me up. Hearing that Happy Gilmore 2 is now in production is one of the happiest things I've heard in the last 20 years, quite frankly. And hearing that they're making the sequel to The Goonies and it's got greenlit and the original cast are all on board for it, over the moon. No reboots. Let's not do reboots. Particularly not. You veer away from the Lost Boys with the reboot. That does not need to happen. It keeps getting muted. But yeah, I think predominantly, associated around 80s and 90s movies that we grew up with. I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Not so much now. I think I probably don't watch as many movies now as I used to. But I had to, when we were redecorating the lounge, I got rid of so many DVDs. Like, so many DVDs, and Mandy's like, we've got to get rid of some of these. I'm like, no, but it's the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray, the whole Indiana Jones saga. I've got the whole Star Wars original DVD box set. I need to keep these things. These are my pretty ones. No, I need them. But yeah, movies, big part. And if you ask me, I've said Ghostbusters is probably my favorite movie of all time. I think that would have to be number one. Yeah, but I can't really give you a top 10 because in any order, because
there's so many
that I absolutely adore, and I'll go, oh yeah, this one, and I go, oh, hang on a minute, there's that one. So Shawshank Redemption's always up there, for example. Absolutely love that film. Not a comedy, just an absolutely genuinely class film. And then you've got bonkers ones like, I don't know, off the top of my head, Goonies is up there.
Yeah, Beverly Hills
that's
Cop.
Not everyone's cup of tea. Beverly Hills Cop 2, Ignore 3. 4's pretty good for those of you who might not have bitten the bullet to see it yet. I recommend Axel F. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. So yeah, it would have to be movies, and I think we could do a lot with that. You could do the 80s and 90s thing, and then a separate one for newer releases. But yeah, it would be movies.
I think we can. It is subjective, like you say. I mean, we could probably do a 3-hour podcast just about the movie Willow, and like no one would listen to it because there's people like, I mean,
even the show that was actually genuinely really good didn't get enough viewers and it got cancelled.
Yeah,
I was gutted. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It could have really grown and moved on. Like if they'd done another season, it would have been amazing. But anyway, yeah,
baby.
Yeah. Let's do. We're just hit the hour, so let's do one last question. And I want to go with Deborah Turner. What's your favorite thing about connecting with your listeners, and how do you engage with them outside of the podcast? So that's an interesting one. I mean, it is. I'll be honest. It is social media, really, isn't it? We don't spend a lot of time. Yeah. What I would love is people to come up to us and talk to us about the show, talk to us about this, that, and the other when we're at the track.
Do you get that?
Yeah, I mean, I get it from time to time.
In particular, shout out to Steve Koch. Supporter since day one. He's had his own sort of health issues. He's back down the track when he can be. He'll always, if he's in the pits and I'm in there, because I normally go and sort of speak to Nigel and speak to a couple of the riders before the meeting. He always comes and finds me and talks about it. Mark Harding as well, and Jamie from a time. We more talk about Speedway than the show, but yeah. And I get a couple of other people going, "Oh, great show!" Alan Hickson, really glad that such an advocate for us. Really glad you guys are back. Doesn't want to look at us, but is quite happy to listen to us rabbit on. So, love you, Al. I think the thing for me about connecting is when you've got the same mentality and you see things in the same way. And again, like you say, predominantly over social media, but as a meeting goes on, I know I haven't done it so much recently, but sort of GIFs and memes that you can relate to Speedway and have a bit of a laugh and joke about it through the meeting. It's when you sort of vibe on the same level, and it's like, this is why people tune into us. We are on the same length mentally, which takes a lot. I'm not going to lie. I am, I am about 12 in my brain. Just everything else isn't. But yeah, that's the thing that I enjoy the most, is when you sort of connect on the same level for something funny. And it builds down the line. Like Richard Lawson's hair, Steve Koch has been incredible with that. Go and check him out, Steve Koch on Twitter. I've reposted stuff. The sort of graphic he did for Richard Lawson's testimonial, and he said, "This is why people don't ask me to do graphics," was all about L'Oreal and different hairstyles. And it was Richard in spectacular locks. It just creased me up. I just love people posting funny stuff that is just so on our level.
Carl is another one. Carlito, he posts so much good stuff, especially during a meeting.
And the stuff he doesn't post.
There's a load of stuff. There's a load of stuff normally that bounces around between several people on Twitter during a meeting, and it's it's brilliant. But yeah, I mean, I would love to, excuse me, I'd love to hear from more people down at the track. Come and find us, come and say hello, have a chat. We're approachable, even if we don't look approachable. We are. We've probably had a stressful day or something, and we've only just got down there through shed loads of traffic. If you've driven through Poole at any point over the last few days,
tonight, mate. It took me 45 minutes ago tonight. I don't know what went on.
It's not great, but come and say hello, have a chat. We're always happy to have a chat about Speedway and get in touch with you guys. We'd love a lot more of that. So there we go. There's still more questions, but I think a week 3 of these is probably going to be pushing it. So I think we'll probably change it up a little bit next week. We'll do something different.
Stay tuned this time next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the next ASK Pirate. Maybe a Christmas special.
Yeah, that would be good. That'd be good. Yeah, all Christmas themed questions. Like, what's your favorite Christmas film? What does your favorite Christmas dinner look like? What would you like for Christmas? Things like that.
Not really a Speedway related one, but
No.
What's your favorite Christmas Speedway rider?
Richard Lawson with a Santa hat on.
Ben Christmas Cookie? Is that right?
Ben Cookie. Yeah, could work. Yeah, good work. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us and listening through for the last hour. We've loved doing these, and it's definitely something we'll bring back in the future. We'll let you guys recharge and think of some more questions over the next few weeks, and maybe do it again. But yeah, really appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got some great numbers, some really great numbers on the subscription and the views. It's absolutely shot off since we've been back. So really do appreciate that.
After last week, I actually looked back over the historic ones, and like we sort of averaging 500 to 600, which is still amazing based on sort of how intermittent we were with the rider interviews. That peaked at 900 for Danny King, and I forgot we were able to have Danny Ford on, weren't we?
That's right.
When we announced the signing of Jack Thompson as well. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But like it's just jumped up. It's like 1,500 now. It's mad.
Yeah, it's going so well.
Thank you.
And can't say thank you enough. I mean, again, the YouTube numbers are great. Make sure you check out the audio podcast as well. It's exactly the same audio, but again, you could listen in a different format. So check that out. And all of our links are all over at thepiratecast.com. Takes you to our link tree with all of our good stuff over there. Right, that's it. I'm going to go have some dinner now.
Hang on a sec.
Go on.
I wasn't going to say this.
Go on.
But I've had feedback.
Go on.
There's something missing from the end of the show.
Oh yeah, I've had feedback about
and
this.
People are asking for it.
He's messing.
Now, one of the people is probably the same people.
Nige.
And I told him no, but I have had it from more than one person.
More than one person. Unbelievable. All right, bear with me a minute.
No, I can't. Well, yeah, bear with me as well. Hang on.
Right. Yeah, and you'll understand why. I've got one straight away. You'll understand. And again, there's only so many funny or not funny pirate jokes that you can do. I get all of my pirate jokes from a website called piratejokes.net, and it brings up a random joke and then you can refresh it and it keeps giving you new jokes. 99% of them are crap and I won't do them. The other 1% are still crap, but I will do them. And it gets to the point where you just keep clicking refresh and they're all rubbish or ones you've already done. So it's a bit difficult, but I have got one for today. And I want to know who. So are you ready?
No, I'm not.
No. Yeah, was that a YouTube ad by any chance? Yeah. So yeah, check it out if you want some good ones to share out on X or Twitter or Twitter as it's called on there. Piratejokes.net. There we go. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Now this is quite well themed because we're coming up to Halloween, not in too distant future. All the shops are starting to get in their stuff, and there is the casting call for Harry Potter actors for the new series on HBO. Why do pirates like Harry Potter?
I don't know. Why do pirates like Harry Potter?
Because he has a scar. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear anything. That was terrible.
Okay, that was weird. But anyway, that was the pirate joke.
And on that bombshell of a pirate joke.
There was nothing wrong with that. It was good. I liked it. Didn't I have I've actually got a sound effect for a tumbleweed here, which I put in the. Can you get the sounds? Have you got the because you're doing it on an iPhone, aren't you? You can't get the sound
because I'm on my iPhone. I'm here as a guest at the moment rather than a co-host, so I can't. I don't believe I can.
I'm gonna give this a try. I forgot I put this in here like a year or so ago.
What was that?
It's the tumbleweed sound. Oh god, it's still going. It's on repeat. Whoops!
I can't hear it. I literally can't hear anything. I can hear you. I can't hear the sound effect.
Maybe it only goes to the stream rather than to you. That's weird. Yeah, I've got all these weird. We've really gone off topic. We really need to finish the show.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. So yeah, that was a pirate joke. Again, there aren't enough pirate jokes out there for me to do it every time. There's your fireworks going off. Again, this is worth checking out the YouTube version if you are on audio to see Ben's iPhone fireworks.
I can't believe it came out. I didn't think it was going to come out on the stream, if I'm honest. So.
It came out pretty well. That's just one. And then there's me sat there like a mug doing it. And of course it doesn't work because I'm not on an iPhone. I'm on my computer. Not bad.
But that's the other reason I couldn't show anyone my podcast, because I'm using my iPhone as my camera now.
Yeah. Right. On that bombshell, we will see you guys next week, next Friday. By that point, we will know the Pirates' fate, whether or not they are going to be going through to the final of the championship. I hate it when they call it that. The championship, final championship. So weird. Anyway, we could be there. We'll find out. We'll know by next week. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for all support. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We really do appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything. And it really does help us out. And come and find us at the track whenever we're going to be down there next. At the moment, we don't know when that's going to be. Probably not next Wednesday, but we don't know. Maybe it will be. But yes, thank you very much for your interaction. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Thank you.